So I know for a fact that there are a lot of girlies, a lot of boys out there that are either dealing with unmedicated ADHD or dealing with undiagnosed ADHD or dealing with accusations that you have ADHD from people telling you like they're not sure what's wrong with you, but there's something. And I was in the same boat this time last year. November 2023 is when I applied to be on the ADHD waiting list. I can't even remember. I think it must have been March this year that I got my diagnosis. This time last year, around like May, first year, exam season, I was just desperate for some sort of advice, ethical or unethical, of just how to cope with dealing with ADHD. I didn't even know if I had it at that time, but I was just stressed out. I couldn't manage my time. And my dopamine receptors were fried, and they still are fried, but just a little less so. And then I came up with the idea. I was like, why don't I just share my ethical and unethical tips and tricks to help out people out there who might be going through the same thing. Ethical life hack. Positive reinforcement. So I actually just finished writing a journal article about how people with ADHD are more susceptible to things like addiction, gambling, etc., because our I don't know how to say it. Actually, why don't I just read you a part from my essay? That is so much easier than trying to think of it on the top of my head. So I will just pick out one of my super smart sounding sentences from my last assignment. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a neurodevelopmental condition characterized by impulsivity, correct. Inattention, correct. Hyperactivity, correct. And is strongly associated with dopaminogenic dysregulation in both inherited genes and patterns of behavior. In layman's terms, that basically means that people with ADHD, the way we process dopamine, it doesn't happen as frequently as we need it to. Our dopamine receptors are basically fried. It's like having genetic brain rot, basically. So this means that in your life, you will be constantly chasing short-term gratification such as nicotine, gambling, all the fun stuff, to be honest. The only fun part about having ADHD is my bank account. That's the only not fun part because I got seriously addicted to mobile games. Anyways, so yeah, basically with ADHD, you get attracted to things that bring you joy as quickly as possible. And this can mean that you procrastinate a lot of work because you struggle to see the long-term success. Like, oh, I might spend 8 hours on this essay now, but in 3 months' time when it gets marked, I'm going to be really happy because I got first. But the silly old brain can't process that. You're like, no, I want to play solitaire. Let me play solitaire. Let me watch Big Time Rush while I'm thinking of it. And you know what? Let me eat a chocolate bar and pop a snus. And then you never end up actually writing the essay and you have to do it the night before. So yeah, with positive reinforcement, this basically means just breaking up tasks into the smallest little sections and then rewarding yourself for doing work that you would otherwise overlook as being like really insignificant, like 100 words. You'd be like, yeah, I could do that in like 20 minutes, but you never end up doing it in 20 minutes because you never do it in the first place because you leave everything to fucking last minute. So positive reinforcement is basically just rewarding yourself for doing simple tasks, because doing 100 words is better than doing 0 and stressing out about it. Unethical reinforcement. Now, the way I like to conduct positive reinforcement is by rewarding myself with a glass of rosé after every paragraph I write. And it works. Now, I will say, not to get serious, but people with ADHD are very much more likely to suffer with substance abuse addictions, alcoholism, impulsive behaviour. I'm not condoning this, as I said, not recommended, but if there's anything that gets me motivated, fucking Kylie Minogue. Ethical life hack. One that I have recently discovered, and I really don't know why I didn't try it sooner, because I guess I'm a stubborn person. Someone tells me like, no, doing this would like really help your anxiety. And I'm like, did I ask? And then I try it out and I'm like, okay, that did actually work. Basically, body doubling is where you sit yourself next to someone else who's very motivated, very locked in, and your body might take half an hour, might take an hour, but eventually you will find yourself locked in. And as someone who literally lost their library card like 6 months ago, I only just found it the other day. I have not been to the library at all this year until the past 2 weeks where I have been body doubling my housemates, and I spent a good like 8 hours in the library every day for like a week and a half, and it was amazing, and I got like 3 months worth of work done in like a week. So yeah, I definitely recommend trying it out. If you don't know anyone that's locked in, maybe your whole friendship group has ADHD and you're all just a bunch of fucking losers. You all haven't got your grind set on. It even works for just like sitting next to strangers, like pretend that you're friends, and just in your head be like, oh, they're fucking doing more work than me, and then just like, yeah, it just works. I don't know the psychology behind it, but it does work. Unethical life hack. Zins. So again, this is another massive, huge, elephant-sized disclaimer. Oh, I just turned my microphone off. Is it on? It's back on. Yeah, this is like a huge, like fucking gargantuan disclaimer. Whelans et al. 1998 notes that adults with ADHD are more likely to develop substance use disorders than their neurotypical peers, particularly when stimulant treatment is delayed or absent. Who can relate? So yeah, again, I'm really, really, really not condoning picking up nicotine use if you don't already use it, because that is the exact same thing that happened to me. I went to Love Juice as a fresh 18-year-old. Sammy Porter and George Mensa got me hooked on Nordic Spirits. Not them specifically, but Love Juice. And I still have beef with Love Juice to this day for introducing me to Nordic Spirits, because I have used snus now every day for the last like 2.5 years since then. And it's slowly bankrupting me and eroding my gums away. So if that didn't put you off already, I will talk about the benefits of snus, and that is the fact that it is a legal substance that does make you feel a little bit more focused, and it gives you a little bit of buzz. I mean, I'm not recommending it, but it does work. There's loads of teenagers underneath my window right now. That was really embarrassing. My microphone wasn't switched on. So another unethical life hack I have is don't sit down. Now, this might sound counterintuitive because Mia, won't doing loads of things make you burnt out? No, wrong. You are going to be burnt out anyway. It doesn't matter whether you're doing 17 piles of dishes or if you're playing mobile games for 5 hours, you will be burnt out anyway. It just happens. So when you have a spurt of energy, it's like once in a blue moon. You might as well capitalize on it and get shit done. You see that list? You see that list over there? That's my list of shit I need to get done. I never actually do it on the day that I said I was going to get it done, but when I'm up, I stay up and I get it done. So basically, you know, like how when you're playing The Sims and you don't give them a task to do and they're just sort of standing there? No, you need to spam the shit out of the queue of actions and be like, okay, so first you're going to make some toast and then you're going to do orange washing and then you're going to do light load of washing and then you're going to do go to the gym. Never happens for me. As soon as you are up, try and do all of the standing up activities while you can, which then nicely leads me on to my other unethical life hack, which is so I know for a fact I need my brain rot time. I'm not one of those, like, you know, that fucking Notion, whatever it's called, advert that comes up and he's like, I use Notion to sort out my burnout and here's how you can do it too. Shut up! Literally, like, I need my burnout time, okay? I need to play mobile games. So my unethical life hack is, it goes both ways. It's either getting up at like 7 and getting all of the things I need to do done before like noon, and then I can spend the rest of the day doing my mobile game time, or alternatively,
the woman was too stunned to speak.
Or alternatively, sometimes I feel like an afternoon owl, you know what I mean? Like, I'm most productive at like 6 p.m. sort of. So what I do is that, oh, they're waving at me. Hello. People waving at me. Okay. So yeah, so no. Nice. Okay. They've really thrown me off my mojo. So yeah, I either try and wake up early so I can get everything done and then I can get my TikTok brain rot time in, or I wake up at 4 a.m, get my TikTok brain rot time in and I play solitaire, and then the rest of the day I won't need it because I've had my 4-hour fix at 4 a.m. Is it healthy? No. Does it work? Yes. Okay, on to an ethical unethical life hack. So something that motivates me, lo-fi beats, get out of here, does not work. I am someone where it's like Fatboy Slim, The Prodigy, Pete Tong, like fast, high tempo, like dance music. That is what gets me going. Creating a playlist that you only listen to when you're productive. It's not the Pavlovian thing. It's called like classically conditioning yourself, something like that. I don't know. Just basically like sort of gets you in that mindset. The method is tried and tested and is Mia approved. Unethical life hack. I get other people to hold my money for me. Am I proud of it? No. Am I an adult? Yes. Okay, they're still waving at me. Okay. So, as quoted from my journal article, individuals with ADHD typically exhibit deficits in dopamine transmissions, which trigger symptoms of impulsivity, poor self-regulation, and a heightened sensitivity to reward stimuli. So, this basically means you're not going to be good at managing money, and that's okay. It is proven in research that that is a symptom of having ADHD. For me personally, it is either buying a pack of Zins for £6.50, even though I could order them online for £2 a tin. And then there's other things like gambling. I've never gambled, but I have. It's sort of like the GTA 5 gambling equivalent to gambling, like mobile games where you like pay to win. I unfortunately am a sucker for those. So unethical is getting people to hold your money for you, which has to be someone you trust, but sometimes you genuinely cannot be trusted with money in your bank account because you will spend it on something stupid. But the ethical suggestion I have is if you search up restrictions on settings, and it should be under screen time, and then you go into in-app, like app store, in-app purchases, you can disable in-app purchases. And because it's so complicated to get the option up, you will probably forget how you found it in the first place. That means you literally cannot spend money on the app store. The same thing goes with if you change the setting to always require password and then get someone else to change your password for you, you physically cannot spend any money. Might be breaching some cyber security recommendations, but the game's the game. Oh my god, guys, thanks for the meet and greet outside my house, but it's a bit of a breach of personal privacy. Oh, I've just realised I'm really zoomed in. Fuck off. There's also children. The kids are nowhere to be seen. I'm really sad. I had my hair all beautifully blow dried and then I got really sweaty because the worst type of creature on the earth, 14-year-old boys, were looking at me. And now I've had to put it in a bun. This video just reminds me of that audio of Sarah Millican, which is show me your weirdest life hack.
Show me the life hack that you randomly saw one day.
Something like that. I don't even know if it's Sarah Millican, it's someone. Show me your weirdest life hack that has now become a present part of your routine. So I am just speaking on experience of being at the University of Leeds. However, this may be different or the same at other universities, but at my university specifically, if you were on the ADHD waiting list, you were able to become a part of the disability list, which means that you are then able to get or apply for DSA once you get accepted onto the list, which took about 8 weeks. But I'm not going to lie, I sent them an email and asked them what's going on and why am I not on the list yet. They said because I reached out to them and no one actually ever emails them that they bumped me up the list, but they weren't supposed to tell me that because they're not supposed to do it, but they were impressed by my initiative. Anyways, so yeah, the disabled student allowance isn't a grant, it's not like a bursary, it's something that you get given by the government to pay for a certain set of equipment that you are assessed for. For example, I get Speechify, which reads my essays back to me. I get Scholasy, which summarizes articles for me using AI, but it's not the same as ChatGPT because ChatGPT uses outside sources, whereas Scholasy will only tell you what's in the article. And say if I asked it about an article, does this discuss nicotine users with ADHD? If it mentions nicotine and if it mentions ADHD, it will tell me those two things, but it will flat out say to me, no, this doesn't include it. So this is great for productivity, especially when doing a dossier or a literature review, because I am someone who cannot read I can read quickly, but I can't read very well, which means I end up having to read something like 3 times over, and it takes me triple the amount of time it takes someone else to do. So a service like Scholarly, which is paid for by the UK government, it basically tells me, okay, I put it in, I ask it the question I'm looking for, I just want one question answered from this source, and it will tell me, yes, it discusses this, or no. It also breaks down the article for you into sections, like conclusions. You have key ideas. You can do it in bullet points. You can do it at a high school student level. You can do it at an undergraduate level. And then the one I mentioned before, this is another one of my, I don't really know, it's not really unethical, but this is another one of my unhinged life hacks. I get Mr. Beast to read back my essays to me. I was doing Gwyneth Paltrow, but I got a bit bored of her voice. And then I tried Snoop Dogg out, but I just wasn't vibing with it. So Mr. Beast reads my essays back to me. I will get up a snippet of it so I can show you what I mean. And while that's loading, there's a lot of other services. I got a shotgun microphone, which for next year when I have lectures again, well, actually the year after next because I'll be going on placement, but for my 3rd year, I have a shotgun microphone that I can plug into my laptop and it will record the audio of the lecture for me, and then it will do a transcript, because also I cannot multitask. I cannot listen, read, write, and chat to someone who's sitting next to me all at the same time. My biggest grievance with my course is that they are very, very, very inconsistent with recording lectures. I'd say about 20% of our lectures were recorded, and most of that was optional modules that weren't even in my course. This is like going to be a game changer next year. I basically got given a microphone for free by DSA. Another thing I got given for free were my Loop earbuds, earplugs actually, which I've seen like a lot of YouTubers advertise, which I was quite shocked that DSA is like clued up on that. But they're basically, instead of like AirPods, they're like earbuds. No, they're not. They block your ear canal, and they don't like cut out all noise, but they cut out a lot of noise. And it's just good for locking in when like I'm kind of overstimulated with music, and the Fatboy Slim, the Pete Tong, Ibiza 90s sets aren't working because they're stressing me out. It's nice just to have those in my ears, and I can just basically hear nothing. Okay, so I have Speechify up, and I will now present to you Mr. Beast reading my last assignment that I handed in yesterday.
Nicotine pouches and neurodivergent risk. A narrative review of ADHD, dopaminergic dysregulation, and consumer vulnerability. This literature review explores the intersection between attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, consumer behavior, and the rising popularity of nicotine pouches.
Thanks, Mr. Beast. So, like, the benefits of a service like Speechify is, like, I was already using text-to-speech on my MacBook anyway, but a lot of the time it would mean that I would have to copy and paste text specifically into the Notes app for some reason, because the text-to-speech feature just wasn't a thing on Microsoft Word. Whereas Speechify is an app where I just put it all in there on Google Chrome, and it just reads it back to me in like a natural human voice, and I can change the speed to as fast or as slow as I want, which is really good because I usually have mine on about 1.5 setting, and it means like an essay that would have taken me about half an hour to read because I would have had to read it 3 times over. I get to read it in 9 minutes, or I have Mr. Beast read it to me in 9 minutes. I now present to you Mr. Beast reading my essay at 880 words per minute. I will also present to you Gwyneth Paltrow.
Furthermore, contemporary research on nicotine pouches explores how they're discreet and
I do like Gwyneth Paltrow, but I just couldn't stop thinking about the candle that she made that smelled like her vagina. So it kind of put me off using her to read back my essays to me. So yeah, the process might be a bit different for every university. It will most likely be on your university's website, but you basically, once you're on your university's disability list, they can recommend you to DSA for a assessment, and then you get partnered up with someone from DSA, and they basically ask you, okay, is it reading? Is it writing? Is it presentations? Like, what is it that you struggle with the most from your ADHD? I'm not gonna lie, in my meeting, they kind of just told me to apply for everything because you might as well ask. Like, if you don't ask, you don't get. But there were a few things like a personal like organizer sort of like Notion, and I was just like, I don't need that. Like, I'm not someone that like a plan works with. So I did actually say no to that, but that's another thing that it wasn't Notion, it was a similar one, but that's another thing that you can get through DSA. So it's just worth my top advice for anyone, and this is actually ethical, and it's just straightforward advice. If you think you have ADHD, please just call up your GP. The first step is to just call up your GP and be like, I think I have ADHD, and then they will refer you for a GP appointment. And then in your GP appointment, you can either go on the NHS waiting list, which is about 8 years in some places, or you can go private if you're lucky enough to go private, or you can go right to choose, which is still, like, at this point in time, I have not paid for anything. But when I get referred for my titration and I get my medication, that is where I will start paying for things, which I'm very lucky for, that I got my diagnosis in about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. The whole process has been free. And the first step is literally just calling up your GP, having that GP appointment, and then going on the waiting list, either NHS, private, or right to choose. And then once you're on said waiting list, you can contact your disability services at your university. Again, it might be different for other places other than Leeds, but the best thing you can do is just send the emails early, please, because even when I got my ADHD referral, February, I got given 4 forms I needed to complete, and all of them took me about an hour because it was 25 questions of like very likely, not likely, blah blah blah, and each one had about 1,000-word answer. So I was just like trying to pin down a point where like I had enough time to go through and like really like think about my answers, because it is really important to like be honest in those assessments. And then also you have to get a family member to talk about you as a child, which again is very hard, trying to pin down someone and be like, can you talk about me for like 2 hours so I can get my ADHD assessment done. But as soon as you get that done, you move on to the next steps. And then it took about 8 months after that for me to get like an online appointment with an ADHD person to like do my assessment. And that's where he said like, babes, you're riddled with it. So yeah, top advice is please just do things, just do them early, because you will thank yourself in the future. Like, I understand with the forms for an ADHD assessment, it fucking takes ages, but the things like making the GP phone call, or the things like emailing your disability list, like your disability services, and like trying to find a disability contact at your university, it takes like 5 minutes, and it's so worthwhile to just do it early, especially in the academic year. Do it early because you beat the queue, and it will save you so much stress when Christmas and then Easter and then May exams come around. It will just please just send emails, please. I know it's scary, but it will benefit you so much. Oh my god, I completely forgot. That leads me on to another one as well. Sometimes coming in after a night out and I'm still drunk, I've just been to a rave and I'm still a bit like, ooh. Sometimes that's the best time for me to get my assignment done, and I don't know why. And I wouldn't recommend this again, because for some reason when I'm fucking plastered and I'm off the wall, I still remain that academic integrity and that writing style, and I think that is just unique to me. I don't think this applies to everyone. I have got some of my best grades. I have got a 70 and a 71 and a 72 after coming in from New Year's and going straight on my laptop after the rave and doing my assignment. And the same applies to coming home from the bar, still drunk, still wave, and doing my assignment and still get it first. So I think that just links to the sense of like novelty and like, oh my god, like this is so random, like no one else I know would do this. Like for some reason it works. I don't know. I like a bit of chaos, you know what I mean? I love making bad decisions and then complaining that I've put myself in that situation. But it works. Unethical life hack. So sometimes I will be like, I can't do my work because I feel uncomfortable. I feel overstimulated. And sometimes like just like sitting on the floor over there and just like changing the scenery, even if I'm just like in a corner of my room that I don't sit in, for some reason that's like amusing to me. Or like going to a different floor of the library that in a chair that I've never sat in is you know, like just breaking up the routine. However, the most unethical way to break the routine is doing the 37-hour all-nighters, which I did partake in the other night. And whilst it is not healthy at all, doing an all-nighter is very, very bad for your body. And I consumed way too much caffeine. I will insert a video here of my hands shaking. I've been up for about 30 hours at that point, and I hadn't really eaten either because I was just so fucking locked in. But I will say, it's kind of like, you're kind of like, oh, this is kind of like funky and like a little bit like, oh, I'm so like unpredictable, like doing a 37-hour all-nighter. And it kind of just like, I don't know, it's a challenge. It keeps things exciting. During A-levels and during GCSEs, apart from history GCSE, geography GCSE, and then geography A-level, I revised the morning of. English A-level, I literally revised like an hour before the exam. I never revised in my life. I've always kept things to the last minute. And I'm someone where like a normal, just segmented being like, okay, at 4 p.m, I'm going to do a little bit of reading. It doesn't fucking work for me. But doing a 37-hour all-nighter, sign me up. I can take it on. And again, with like, as you can see, I've tried a lot of different post-it notes, like you can see it over there, post-it note strategies, and trying physical journals, and like trying to set alarms for myself and holding myself accountable to other people. That shit has not worked. It doesn't work. And it might work for some people, which is great, but having a plan and a schedule does not work for me. And I think it's because I'm so stressed out about meeting that expectation that I have and that other people have for me that I'd rather just not try at all. Whereas when I have no plan and I'm like, right, stay up for 37 hours and get shit done and doing it my own way, I almost have like this pride that like I can get it done because people have told me that I can't. And that's another thing with ADHD. Like if my mum comes into my room and she's like, you need to clean your room, I'm not going to do it because I was thinking about doing it. But now the fact that she's told me to do it, it's not my idea anymore. And I don't want to do it. And now a piece of ethical advice I have is that with ADHD, especially with me and this bloody YouTube channel, when you have something that you need to do, that is when your creativity really spirals and you get like 1,001 ideas that like you need to execute today because you'll forget about them tomorrow. But it's just your brain's way of like avoiding responsibility. You want to do something that seems fun and like a creative outlet, but it's only because you have a deadline approaching and you didn't do that creative, massive, big plan that you've come up with the whole time before. You're only doing it now. And it's because with ADHD, say I need to do my washing, I'm like, God, I can't be asked to do my washing. Let me take out the bins. But if I needed to take out the bins, I would have been like, oh my God, I can't take out the bins. Let me clean my room. Like, it's like an avoidant sort of thing. The best advice I have is that if you get these brilliant, great ideas, the best thing to do is write them down and come back to them later. And most of the time you won't come back to them because it's hard to stick on one task at a time. But yeah, that is another thing as well. I have tried to film this video 3 separate times. So throughout the video, I will hopefully be splicing in parts of me throughout the year and me being really delusional where I thought I was on top of things. And then me like last week stressing out and trying to just chaotically get my assignment done before it's due. And I think it would just give like a really realistic perspective, because I think a lot of people just think like ADHD is like, oh my God, I'm so random, like, but it's not. It is really not. ADHD is like 2 weeks of burnout and then 2 days of hyperactivity, if that. Usually maybe 2 hours of hyperactivity, but that is just me. It is different for everyone. Yeah, I don't think I have any other points to mention in the video. If I do, I'll probably just stitch them in later. But I hope this video could be beneficial for some people, and I hope you enjoyed watching. I've recorded 2 other videos. I have a pub crawl with my friend, and I also just recorded a little nature vlog with me and my boyfriend. So if I find myself with spare time, I will be editing those vlogs and they will be up on the channel at some point.
Oh my God, I look like a dishevelled woman, and that is because I did come home tonight from work during a rainstorm. Anyways, that brings me on to my point. So it is now January 2026 since I recorded that video, and I just think it's very interesting how I talk about all of these negative, there are some positives, but mainly negatives with dealing with unmedicated ADHD in my life. And since then, since June 2025, I have been on my industrial placement for university. So I have not been in education, I've been in full-time work. And it is crazy to see the difference. I might look worse, but ignore that. I feel so much better. Like, it is crazy to me how much I thrive in the workforce as someone with ADHD, specifically in a creative field like social media. And God, like half of the things I talk about don't even apply to me, like PDA, pathological demand avoidance. Not even a thing anymore. Like, someone tells me to do something and I'm like straight away like, yes, I'll do it, because I just fucking love what I'm doing every day. I'm so grateful. I think when I recorded that video, I knew that I had secured the placement, but I didn't realise like how much, honestly, being out of education would improve my life. And I'm still unmedicated to this day. I was supposed to get medicated this month and they pushed my titration back to March. So still dealing with that, but at this point, like in this career and being in the workforce, I could go my whole life without being unmedicated. But unfortunately, I do have to return to university after like September this year. So I'm praying that I do get my prescription, because I cannot believe that I got myself through university for 2 years without medication. Clearly I was struggling. Like 37-hour all-nighters are not normal. I want to specify that. You may do them, but that is not normal and it is not good for you. But yeah, this little just splice in the video is just to say that like it's not forever. Like, feeling that you have poor time management, feeling like you have poor organisational skills, feeling like you are avoidant, completely does not happen in the workforce. My whole job is to literally schedule social media posts in time for them to go live and follow a plan. And I have to organise like 10 different social media feeds. And I'm, not to toot my own horn, I'm doing really well at it. Like, I feel like I've really excelled in the job I have now. And I just want to say, yeah, it's not forever. Education, if you're already 2 years into it like me, you just have to complete that third year, because what was the point in getting 18 grand of debt if you're not going to finish? But yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That's all I wanted to say. I did rollers specifically just for this video.